Is success predetermined in your date of birth? Maybe you need to work a little harder than others, but your success will be greater. Which numbers are considered money numbers and where do they appear for you? And most importantly, what should you develop through and which qualities should you focus on? Find out in this video. I always say that blessings are ready or destined for everyone. Moreover, there are people with very powerful birth dates. You could say that everything is already prepared for them. All they have left to do is take a tiny step, but they don't take it. Yet the blessing is there. So these blessings go to the one who does take action. Of course, your birth date contains characteristics that already show that all you have left is to take this small step. And perhaps this video will help you understand exactly what that small step is. And these numbers indicate that you should be doing very well financially. For those with such characteristics, it's important to understand what they are doing. After all, money is not just energy, not just something else. It's, you could say, our time, which we exchange for currency. And if in your own life you should happen to have enough of this money, so to speak, but for some reason, perhaps one that is not immediately clear, you actually do not, then it logically follows that you are in all likelihood spending your time in the wrong direction. Analyze this video that you are about to watch, and it's quite possible that you are just one step away. And if you don't have these numbers, it doesn't mean that everything is very bad. It just means that there are enough resources. And if you move in your own direction, these benefits will come to you from those who do nothing. So once again, there are enough resources in this life and in this world for everyone. Money numbers. What are they? Do you really need to have them in order to earn money? Of course not. But if you do have them, naturally pay special attention to this. Traditionally, the numbers 4, 6, and 8 are considered money numbers. There's even a term for it, the business concord. At our school, I use unique methods that have no analogs in the world. In other words, these are my own developments from almost 20 years of practice. Gradually, all of this has come together into a comprehensive system that reveals life paths, periods, everything a person needs to know, psycho-emotional states, and how all of this will change. Naturally, we study all of this at our school. And so, linking the numbers into a single chain is exactly what reveals predispositions. Even individually, for example, these characteristics indicate that you have strong abilities in financial activities. Of course, it all starts with the number 8. That is, it could be August the 17th, the 8th, or the 26th. When we talk about people having these characteristics, or even about the 1980s, meaning not just the birth number, after all, our date consists not only of the birth number, or the mind number, or the karma number, as some call it. I don't call it that. I talk about what actually works. And when you notice such characteristics in yourself, you should definitely pay attention to them. It's just that each characteristic works in its own time. The day of birth has its own cycle, the month has its own, the year of birth has its own, the life path number as well, and so on. Naturally, all of this has its own period of activity, or rather its own influence on our lives. So if there are 8s in your date, that already indicates that you carry this financial state within you. There is a nuance here, of course, because there are people with strong 8s who think that everything is allowed to them. They push through obstacles, and as a result, they quickly start to get sick. Why? Because the 8 consists of 2 parts. One part is the material world, financial, you could even say nowadays. And the second world is the upper part, the spiritual world or the world of the soul, whichever term is more comfortable for you. If these 2 worlds are not united, then what happens is that a person, in most cases, follows only the material, the financial path, stepping over others and not thinking about their own future. They think they can do anything, and as a result, they drop out of the race rather quickly, regardless of how much they've earned. If we look at the history of such people, very often, around the age of 40, give or take, it's quite common for them to be stopped. And they have to start not just from scratch, but start thinking with their heads. But in any case, if you have an 8 in your date of birth, you are already prepared. You already have a good financial chart. In any case, all you need to do is choose your direction wisely. And don't forget that our world is made up not only of career, not only of other people's opinions, and not about achieving some result at any cost. Sometimes you need to be able to let go of the desire to achieve a result and shift your focus to more worthy pursuits. Our world is made up of relationships. Our world is made up of the fact that our outlook on thinking expands. And for people with eights, it's not just about finances. It's also about extrasensory perception. It's about knowledge. It's about tremendous power. And often it's also magical power. That is, you need to be able to manage all of this. It's a very strong trait. And sometimes you could even say it's quite a complex trait in its own way, or rather in its manifestation. But once you possess such a trait, we can say that these people are capable of leading others and earning quite substantial amounts. The main thing is not to be afraid. By the way, if you're interested in how to develop financially with different numbers, let me know and I'll make characteristics for each number, individually for each. But since we're talking about numerology, I want to invite you to my 3-day numerology workshop. In it, we analyze which positions in your date are the strongest, why that is, how to read your date of birth, which period is the strongest in your date of birth, and which period you are in right now at this very moment. Of course, we also look at what strong qualities you have, what strong qualities your loved ones have, and how to build relationships using your best qualities. For 3 days, we will study numerology together, and you will find answers to many of your questions. If you're interested in this topic, you can find the link in the description of this video. The number 6, why do we associate it with financial characteristics? Well, first of all, because this number initially has the ability to develop good skills and a solid foundation specifically in the material world. And if we take a closer look, a very large number of people who truly and genuinely possess significant financial wealth as well as strong leadership qualities are, in fact, born on the 24th. How is the 24th interpreted? Through building relationships, the 2 with people, and the 4, I come to possess the material world. But the problem is that people often stop there because the number 6 even looks like a vessel, a filled vessel, where all the knowledge is at the bottom. That is, in the material world. This includes finances and very often healing as well. So if you have a predominance of 6s, for example, if you were born on the 24th or on the 6th or in June, or if you were born in 86 or 68, then you already have from the start good financial opportunities and healing abilities. For some people, this can open up very well. So if such abilities are awakening in you, don't be afraid of them. You don't have to give up, for example. If you run a business or work in some organization, it's not necessary to quit. You can simply combine both at first and later make your choice. The main task for people with these characteristics is to understand that there is not only the material world. After all, the task of people with strong 6s is to become a mentor. To become a mentor for those to whom you can pass on your experience, to further share your experience. After all, the number 6 signifies that I rise higher and share my experience and skills with others. That's why people born in the years 86 to 68, again, especially in June, are very successful as mentors in various creative fields, financial sectors, as business coaches, accountants, or in taxation. This is what a person can this is an area where you can truly succeed and then pass on your experience to others. This could be through a course or through some kind of group or collective. But it's important for you to understand that your experience shouldn't remain only with you. Learn to share, learn to give back. Even if you're thinking right now, I have nothing, I don't know what to do. A huge number of people come to consultations. And you know, there are funny stories, really funny, about how people thought they needed to create something huge, like I'll create something and then people will come and they'll thank me. But in reality, you just need to take a small step. And that step will be more important than thinking about creating something huge. A small step, and it will open you up. Very good. Think about it. Think about what you can already do right now. That might just be the beginning of your big financial river. Another characteristic is people with force. Why people with force? Because these are already ready-made managers, and specifically structural managers. They already know from the start that what needs to be done and how it needs to be done. Perfectionism often comes into play here. On the one hand, it's good that everything can be organized and put in order. On the other hand, it can be a problem because if it goes too far and everything has to be just so, the person loses, let's say, figurative thinking and creative thinking. But in any case, these are people of structure. These are people who are financiers from the very beginning. By the way, write in the comments which people with strong 8s, strong 6s, or strong 4s you know who have become financially successful. For example, if we take the 24th, I think Steve Jobs is one of the most striking examples. Yes, by the way, the 10th is also included here, of course, but with the 10th, there is a very important nuance. There must definitely be a vision for the future, a very big vision. Then, of course, the financial structure will develop as well. But let's get back to the number 4. People with the number 4 can be described as officials and directors, the electorate. Why? Because they inherently know how to work with people. After all, 4 is about people. And right away, we can say that people born on the 13th, the 22nd, the 4th in April in 66, 75, 84, 93. These are people who are already well prepared and ready to stand above others. They are already ready to work effectively with other people because they clearly understand what management processes look like. They have this system built inside them, and they just need to be given the opportunity to implement it, to reveal this system. If you have these characteristics, if you have these numbers in your date of birth, remember that you are already ready to work with finances, ready to work with people. All that's left for you is just to choose a model. If you don't have this model yet, you need to choose a model. And if you already have a ready-made model, then you can think about expanding what you do. And of course, all of this can be done at our school. This includes consultations, this includes training. Once again, it can be said that the date of birth, the numerological chart, show a person's life path. Sometimes people come for a consultation with questions like, everything was going well, and then suddenly they got lost. Why did they get lost? Because the cycles changed, the characteristics and number combinations changed, but the person keeps moving along the familiar path, along the well-trodden road. And for several years, they continue on inertia, on their own momentum, thanks to the energy they've built up. But then suddenly that energy disappears and they're left in a kind of weightlessness. Why does this happen? Because the foundation has been lost. In every period, there is a foundation. In every period, there is a first goal and a second goal that you need to reach. We study all of this in our school of numerology. So if your date contains the numbers we've mentioned, or maybe they appear in your numerology chart and are opening up precisely in the period you're currently experiencing or in the next one, it's important to know this. Perhaps you really are on the threshold of a period where your financial chart will unfold, for example, or your finances will strengthen in this or the next period, or in the next period, you will be dealing with exactly the state that is now beginning to emerge for you. That's why I would recommend dealing with this. And if you're interested in numerology, whether as a course of study or to understand your own date of birth, of course, you're welcome to join us. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it on your social networks, and recommend it to your friends and acquaintances. This might be something new for someone, a breath of life or a breath of fresh air. Be sure to subscribe to the channel or to our other platforms. Everything is in the description of this video. Well, it's time for me to say goodbye. Until next time.